Hi, it's me, Magenta with a J, and I'm back for another dose of weekly color. So one thing I've been trying to do in light of this whole coronavirus outbreak quarantine situation is try to find some silver linings somewhere, to find some level of positivity. And the thing that I think is most interesting to me is about the ways that constraints force creativity. Specifically for the drag world, we can't perform in clubs anymore. It's really interesting to me to see how video has become the de facto medium for drag right now. The number of digital drag shows is really amazing. I'm in one, Horrifica by House of Oni, on April 15th. I'm very excited about that. Seeing some of these other performers do digital drag shows made me realize the extent to which they are really taking advantage of the video format. And a lot of these shows are not all live streaming everybody. A lot of people prepare videos in advance, which I think is actually the way to go. So I'm kind of curious to see what I can do with it to make for an interesting number. I imagine it'll be a lot more work than just, preparing for a number on stage. But the flip side is that if it's pre-recorded, you get to finesse it and make sure it's exactly how you want it to be before it airs. Depending on how long this whole quarantine era lasts, I think that we might be in for a boom of really interesting artists that are able to use the video format in unexpected and creative ways. People find a way to do interesting shit no matter what the circumstances are. So what keeps happening to me is that I just feel like there's a whole lot of nothing happening, and I know obviously the virus shit is real and huge, but on a personal day-to-day level, I keep seeing people post about being bored, and I just can't relate to it because I'm not bored. I'm just absent of feeling, and it's super strange. I don't feel like I have tons of time to do a million things that I've always wanted to do, even though I do have more time than I used to. I want to feel like a productive person in society, and I just don't. I don't. And I don't know if this was a joke or a real thing, but I saw a while ago the term productivity sickness, and I feel like I have that, where if I'm not creating and doing stuff, I feel like I'm an absolute total failure. And then I'll sit back and actually go down a list of stuff that I've accomplished, and it'll be like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. But I always want to be doing more, and I feel like this is the time to be doing more, and I'm just not, and it's driving me insane. I hate this feeling. One thing that I have been doing that I have found helpful, if anybody is looking for ways to cope, I don't know if it'll work for you right now, but is journaling. So I realized it's easy to forget what things felt like in the moment, because those feelings are, ephemeral. They don't last forever, and new things come along, and when you look back at certain dates or times, you tend to kind of cherry pick the things that you remember from them, and sometimes you even create false memories, sort of combining things together. So I wanted to journal to make sure that I was capturing what it really felt like right now, and I surprised myself that the very first time I did it, I wrote 4 pages. It helped. It was describing a lot of feelings that weren't awesome, but it was a little bit cathartic, I guess. I want to be able to look back at this later if people, ask what it was like. I want to be able to reference real stuff that I was feeling in the moment. So it might be helpful to you as well. Give it a shot. But I know a lot of people are not in the best mental health state right now, and for me this was something that helped. I also can't help but talk about politics a little bit. The biggest issue that I think is going to just keep on coming up is voting. There really needs to be a federally mandated rule that people can vote absentee by mail, because it's just unsafe at this point for people to be congregating in polling places. However, those states that still have primaries to go are facing huge challenges for many Republicans in power, who are straight up saying, they're not even implying this, they're straight up saying that if more people vote, it will be bad for Republicans. It's insane to me that we have a party that specifically wants to make it harder to participate in democracy. That is just, how is that something that anybody would be in favor of. I don't understand. One thing that has been brewing in the back of my mind and has since moved to the front of my mind is a lot of anger that I have at all the people that have fought against science and logic and reason and preparedness and all this stuff that would have made this a lot less severe. Somewhat facetiously, I used to say that, like, if you don't believe in science, then you've got to give back your cell phone. You can't go to the doctor anymore and take medicine, and you can't use a car, and you can't use technology, and all these things that, like, it took science and technology and people experimenting and learning and doing things that they built on the people before them and their skill sets to really create almost everything that is in our society today. And yet there are so many people that just are so suspicious and hateful and hostile towards that. And they have taken that short-sightedness and voted for people that have made things worse. They put us in a situation where literally we have politicians saying that there should be exemptions to the social distancing thing for religious services because Easter is coming up, when you're talking about being pretty much at the peak, potentially, of what this virus is. No, like, find a way to go to church virtually or online. This doesn't make any sense. God is not going to spare everybody that went to Easter services because it's Easter. The other thing driving me crazy is a lot of these people on the far right that were saying this was a hoax and downplaying it and no big deal and yada yada yada, and we're doing it publicly on tape, on video, on audio, are now just pretending they never said those things. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how you balance things that you must know are lies. And it is so difficult to comprehend this need for people to disregard reality. It's a reminder, supportdrag.com, where you can find a lot of drag artists that have had their income erased. You can send them Venmo or PayPal or Cash App tips or whatever, support them online, buy their merch. I created that with Kikipedia. There's also a community directory and now like a live digital drag broadcast guide as well. So Kikipedia is really doing a lot to try to keep people feeling connected during this whole quarantine era. So a ton of respect for them. You can also follow Face Down Queens on YouTube and Facebook and Patreon, which I do with Georgia Flu and Missy Steak, if you're not already familiar. And we have found a way to record with each other remotely, so we are forging ahead with new content. And we just released our first episode of the coronavirus era just a few days ago. Well, that's all I got. This has been Weekly Color. I'm Magenta with a J. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye.